but it's super light.
Yeah. It's very light. It's like a go-kart. We had one for quite a few years. I really liked it.
Straight into the ditch.
Well, that's a neat trick.
Just straight. All right. We're live. Why is it echoing so bad? Live in the studio. We got Matt Lazarski here. The Bottle Stop. Taps and Tackle. Just
Good morning.
Outdoor hunting, fishingist SOB we got here. Hashtag dad life. Hashtag fishing life. Hashtag only at the BS.
Only at the Bottle Stop. Only at the BS. That is right.
Yeah. At the BS. I was gonna say
that's my hashtag.
I know your hashtags better than you know your hashtags.
I get in trouble for that hashtag a lot, but that's all right.
Hey, I called my podcast team early as fuck. I
was going to ask about the swearing. I guess we're probably okay with that.
Yeah, we'll start off right there. I was at a meeting the other day here at Create, and someone's like, "Yeah, do you go by William? Do you go by Bill?" They called me William right away in the conversation. I was like, "Well, you started off with William, so I stood a little taller." And right away, I'm like, I'm not going to curse around this person. I'm like, if you call me William, I'm going to watch my P's and my Q's around you.
To be fair, I didn't know which way to go with that either at the beginning. But now I'm just going to call you Bill, and we can swear like crazy.
We can just swear like sailors.
Yep.
Yeah. So when I first decided after school, I'd be like, I'm going to live in Point. This is going to be the old residence here. Our mutual friend Timmy Cooper's like, you need to visit the old Bottle Stop. And I don't think I'd ever been there prior to that because it just wasn't in my travel corridors, my travel routes during school. And I think I just walked in. I was like, my name's Bill. Timmy Cooper said I need to come here. I like whiskey.
Pretty sure that's exactly how that went. Yeah.
And then you just laughed, and we've been friends ever since. And I love going to your shop and love, like I was talking to you before the podcast, you're my priest, my preacher, and not in the creepy, like all the really bad things that happen in the Catholic Church, but in the sense of I feel safe. I can share secrets at the Bottle Stop.
There's a lot of that, yeah.
I enjoy the shit talking.
There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of it, especially now with the taps and tackle side of things.
It's a nice little reprieve for the end of the week, and
it is. I feel sorry for you.
It's a lot, but some days I question what I did. It's still fun, though.
Yeah, man. So, and we're in the studio. Jake, our other guest for today, is freezing his butt off outside helping the people, servicing the people right now.
He's taking care of all of you.
So we're gonna save a ton of the outdoor, diving into super serious
sciencey stuff.
Yeah, outdoor, because you and I are...
That's above my pay.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to save that for another time. But what I want to talk to you about is what you do in the outdoors, like how it fits in your life, how you grew up in the outdoors, what that looked like. You also have, like, what you're doing with your business is pretty fucking cool, like the ethos behind it and everything that's going on in there. So we can definitely talk about that too, because it's not in the traditional sense.
Not a lot of places like it.
Not a lot of places like it is what I want to talk about. So
maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing.
There you go.
Time will tell.
So I guess Matt Lazarski, introduce yourself, what you do for fun, and I guess.
I'm Matt Lazarski, own the Bottle Stop in Stevens Point, and just recently expanded to Taps and Tackle, what Bill just alluded to. And I am a dad. I enjoy that immensely. Love doing family things with the kids and my wife, Jen.
Shout out Jen.
Yes. And I also do a lot of, I enjoy the outdoors immensely. Fishing is kind of where I've landed after 41
dad
years.
Dad joke.
See, there it is. This is kind of where I've landed after 41 years on this earth. So that's kind of the thing that I've focused in on. Like getting back to like the mentality end of things. I don't know. Growing up, I tried to do everything. You know, you want to try everything. I want to trap. I want to duck hunt, and I want to go deer hunting, and I want to use a bow, and I want to try everything. And you can't be good at all those things. Mm-hmm. You just don't have time to be really good at all of them. So as I got older, you kind of pare things back, and I don't duck hunt as much as I used to anymore, or really at all anymore. And I used to do that a lot. Now it's just easier to hop in a boat and go walleye fishing for a little bit or whatever. So what I've really been enjoying though is getting my kids out now. That's been the bag. So
I love the picture of. For the longest time, I didn't realize you had a son. Mm-hmm. And then you posted a picture, and he was holding the fish wrong.
Yeah, we'll work on that.
That was my favorite.
Yeah.
And so to go back around why I'm having these series of podcasts with friends of mine who I know love the outdoors and love it for good reasons. So last year, it was a ton about farming, like farmers I knew.
Yeah.
The seasonal and fun tour was getting the story of awesome local farmers out, like how they.
And there's a lot of them, man.
There's a ton of them.
Yeah.
Getting their story of how they grew up, their idea of the land ethic, their idea of what farming is, but should be, or kind of like what they're doing that separates their farm from everyone else or the norm. And this year, I really want to focus on the outdoor side of the land ethics. So, what people would call silent sports, hunting, fishing, trapping, all that kind of stuff. And like you said, you just landed in fishing, or that's kind of where you are now.
Yeah, that's where I kind of wound up. And I mean, I grew up on Mill Creek.
Okay.
That was a tributary to the Wisconsin River, and that was a lot of. I spent all my time there. I mean, I had a boat before I had a bike. There wasn't a ton of kids in the neighborhood, so I mean, I would go out in the morning and I would get in a canoe and I would be gone until dark. Pretty much every day in summer. That was my bag. So, and then you kind of drift away a little bit, you know, in the college years. Different things happen then. And Yep. And then I really found that that's really what I enjoy. I really enjoy fishing a lot. My wife would say probably too much.
Yeah, well, you have to have that person in your life that reminds you of what you're obsessed with.
She's got to keep you grounded.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would just be gone all the time. That wouldn't be good.
Yep.
So.
Growing up, so you're out in Mill Creek. You're in the canoe. Who were your early mentors? Who got you the canoe? What did that look like?
My dad got me the. My dad's from South Milwaukee, so he's not wasn't a big sportsman growing up. He enjoyed it, and he did a lot of that stuff. He tried and learned how to hunt. He had to learn all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's not like we came.
So his dad didn't.
No,
Okay.
They were all city folk, as they say.
So the Wisconsin Backcountry Hunters and Anglers Rendezvous this year is outside of Racine.
Okay.
And I've never really gone to that area. And when I pull up on Onyx, it's just like straight lines on the map. My anxiety kicks in. I was like, where do these people hunt and fish?
I don't know. I don't know what they do down there.
So, anyways, go on. Did you ever talk to your dad about what drew him to it?
Well, he's like everybody else that comes to Point. We went to college here, and
gotcha.
That's how this town. You come to college here, and you just don't leave because it's so nice.
You get suckered in.
Yeah.
All right.
That's how we get you.
So he came to Point and he taught himself that stuff here.
Yeah. He didn't do a ton in college. I don't think he traveled a lot and liked to do hiking and camping and stuff like that. But he didn't do a ton of hunting. I don't think. Maybe he did. I could be wrong on that. But once he started working at the paper mills, he got into the guys that hunt and fish and just started learning all that stuff. So and then he passed it on to us, and me and my brothers kind of grew up with a love for it. Not a ton of base knowledge, I guess. So we did a lot of dumb things and mistakes, and you learn and you just keep moving on. So
yeah. What was your mom's relationship with the outdoors?
My mom is a daughter of a dairy farmer.
Okay.
So she grew up with it. She understands it 100%. She gets it. Mm-hmm. Just not, she doesn't hunt or fish, I guess. So.
Do you have sisters?
I have one sister, yeah.
And what did that look like growing up? You're not speaking for her, but just like how your dad maybe approached it, or just like your family approached You and your brother versus her.
See, we were just kind of. So I have two brothers, but we were just kind of. We grew up in not a remote area. I mean, we're 7 miles out of town, right? Mm-hmm. But there weren't a lot of other kids around or anything. So you just kind of had you guys, and then that was,
Nope.
that was how we grew up. I would go do this, and a lot of my brother and sister were younger then. At that, they're significantly younger, I guess, 5 years or whatever. So they were all kind of babies when I was going out and doing all that stuff. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a difficult one to relate to.
Yeah.
Because I asked that because so in my family growing, I'm the oldest sister, brother. We're all pretty much 1.5 years, 2 years apart from each other. And I grew up in the hunting party my dad was a part of was very much like the stereotypical male-female bullshit roles. And,
sure.
Like if I didn't want to go hunting on a certain day, I would get ridiculed and be like, oh, you stay home with the women and bake cookies, that kind of shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then it got to the point where I'm like, I just don't want to be around any of you.
And we never grew up with that, which was kind of an interesting way because we didn't have that base. We didn't have a deer camp. And I shouldn't say that we didn't have a deer camp right away. I mean, we had some family friends that we would go up north with and hunt in Hayward, and that's really how I grew up deer hunting was going to deer camp, and it was staying in a cinder block. But there wasn't that.
Yep.
It wasn't like that I don't know how to say, like that redneck mentality.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh, you can say it.
Right. Yeah. Like it
I would say that.
It was good. It was a very wholesome thing, and that's the one thing that I really want to strive for is that my kids have that experience. It's not necessarily the deer hunting aspect of things, but that wholesome deer camp camaraderie, the full 9 yards. Yeah. Those are the memories that I cherish the most out of from deer hunting. Not the deer I shot or whatever else. So
yeah,
it's that.
I like it. So touching on deer camp, that's always was the first animal you ever killed a deer?
No.
Okay.
No, because you gotta be 12, to do that. So my dad would take me grouse hunting. We would always go grouse hunting with my mom's dad, my grandpa. Okay. They're farmers over in Fenwood, Wisconsin. So we would always go grouse hunting over there a couple times, and the first gun I shot was a shotgun. I remember that. Uh-huh. I'm pretty sure I had to have killed a grouse before then, but the one that always sticks out in your mind is the first deer, though. That's the big one.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was in Hayward.
Hayward.
Yeah, I was 12.
Having grown up in a non-traditional, it's not like that patrilineal ascent of hunting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it came from your dad, but it started there.
It started there, yeah.
Was there any ritual behind it? Was there any emotional? What did it look like?
Not
what
really.
What sticks out?
Yeah.
The most from?
You learn a lot of that later on. Maybe how to act.
Uh-huh.
I don't like those hunting shows where the guys are whooping and hollering after that absolutely drives me nuts.
Yeah.
At the same time, I understand it because there's a lot of things that happen when you pull that trigger.
Yeah.
There's a host of emotions that come through. So the first time it was more just it was just a lot of adrenaline. I was trying to control that,
Uh-huh.
and it wasn't the prettiest thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
It probably should have been a little more traumatic than it was, I guess.
Yeah.
But we wound up getting it, and I didn't make a great shot, let's put it that way.
Okay.
So my friend Jeff, whose land that we were hunting at the time, he came over, and then we both went and tracked this deer down. And not unlike what me and you did, but it was the deer wasn't dead yet. So
it was more. It was like. And it was rifle hunting. So
it was rifle hunting. Yeah, well, I had a shotgun, a 20-gauge shotgun. That was
okay.
the first deer gun I hunted with. So you have an effective range of like 50 yards or 75 yards. And I didn't know about. I'm 12. Oh. I don't come from this. Nobody was there to say, hey, you got to wait 30 minutes.
Oh, you didn't have anyone's. Oh,
yeah. Well, 12, you're out your first. That's your first year alone. You could go with your dad.
You're right.
They didn't have the mentoring seasons like they do now.
Yeah.
They didn't have the early where you can go earlier.
So
they just 12 to give you a gun and you're out in the woods.
Here you go, buddy.
I mean, my dad made sure I was safe and everything.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong with that, but Yeah. So that's how you learn if you don't know, I guess.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
So I love hearing these and asking, especially, a parent like yourself. So that first deer, like you said, you always remember it. It plays in my mind even now.
I can walk through that whole scenario.
Yeah.
I could tell you exactly where we went.
Yep. 20 years later, when I shoot deer with my bow, with my rifle, that still plays in the background is that first doe I shot with my dad. Because like you were talking about, when you were first hunting, you didn't have the mentorship, the kind of like how it's set up now. Like my dad was there with me.
With you, yeah.
Like whispering in my ear, like walking me through the whole process.
Yeah.
Like reminding me where to aim, how to breathe, what to do with the rifle.
And we went through all that. We just went through it ahead of time, you know, like he wasn't like physically right there with me, but we had hunter safety and hours of shooting before that and practice and where do you shoot the deer and how,
it was still there.
Yeah, it was still there. There's just little things that you have to learn that, you don't know about. So yeah, that deer wound up going down this valley and we were kind of chasing it, and we finally got to it at the bottom of this log landing. It was 140 yards up to the top, and he was either drag it back out like through some terrible tag alders or go straight up the hill to this landing. So me and Jeff pulled it all the way up the hill, and he's like, I'll go back and get the four-wheeler. And so he's sitting there, he goes back to get the four-wheeler. I'm waiting at the landing because I didn't even know how to get back to the cabin from the landing we were at. And this was back when they had doe tags in Sawyer County.
Okay.
And I had 2 doe tags. And 4 more does walked right over the gut pile at the bottom of the hill. And I'm like, well. Took a shot. I dropped and that one went down right in the same pile. So he gets back, and I'm like,
got another.
We gotta go do that again. So,
did the second one then went better?
Second one, I folded it. Yeah. It was perfect. That's how it was supposed to happen. And it was a much longer shot with probably out of the range of what I should have taken, but it was right there, and it happened. And that one worked out perfect.
Yeah.
So, and then I've gotten better at that. And then you just, as you get older, you think about like, especially once you get into the food aspect of things, that's when it really started taking off for me. It was like, now I get nervous about where I'm going to shoot him, because I'm like, I don't want to shoot him in the heart. I want to eat that.
Yeah.
What's the best way to handle this now?
Yeah. Definitely. And so looking back at that now, and then you yourself have children, what is your approach to guiding them on? Well, there's obviously the outdoor part of it. They're having fun. You're getting them outside, and I know they're still pretty young yet. But what have you? How old's
it's a heavy subject.
How old's your son?
They're both. They're going to be 5.
I always forget that.
Yeah.
So when I was I love my dad to death, but first animal I shot, I was 5 or 6, bunny hunting.
Sure.
Puts a 22 in my hands. Like I had been shooting quite a bit by then, and it was a porcupine up in a tree. Shoot it. Like no emotional attachment or idea of what I had just done until I get home, and my aunt, my mom are like, "Why did you shoot that?" And then they ask my dad, and they ask me, and my dad and my great uncle at the time they were very much about, well, that's just what you do. Teach the kid how to shoot and kill stuff.
Yeah.
And I look back at it now, and I'm still like super, like, we didn't eat that porcupine.
It's a heavy thing. Yeah. Like especially for kids, which made me nervous when they started changing these laws about letting kids, there's no minimum age, and you just give a kid a gun. Obviously it has to be with an adult, but still, that's more than I want to put on a 6 or 7-year-old mentally.
Yep.
I don't know that they can grasp that concept, but I don't know if you do make those decisions as a 6 or 7-year-old, you gotta come back from that and make sure that you know what you're doing later on in life.
Agreed.
Which you have, thank goodness for that.
Right. I think about that porcupine all the time. So this year when I shot a porcupine, it was like a super somber moment after I shot it because I was thinking about like that first one I shot.
The first one, sure.
And I know it wasn't. There was really no reason for it other than they were like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity, get him introduced into hunting. And when this one, it's like, I ate it. The skull is going to be put. I've got like skulls of everything that I hunt, kill, and eat on a wall in my garage. It's just like my way of, it's that like the trophy hunting.
So there's that, but then there's also like, and I don't want to call it the old farmer mentality, but there's like a nuisance. You know, some animals are just, not saying all animals in that, but some animals, like a specific porcupine that keeps getting into your grain bin or something like that, is going to be a nuisance. Like that's kind of my mom's dad's side, there was a lot of that, you know, where he didn't like starlings. I don't know, because he liked purple martins, and the starlings would kill the purple martin, or eat the eggs or whatever, you know. So like he was always shooting starlings. Like he sit outside, smoke a pipe, and shoot starlings. Sounds pretty great for retirement, honestly.
Yeah, right. Stoop, shotgun, starlings.
Yeah,
right.
But there's also that mentality, you know, like where you shoot a porcupine, but you shoot it because it's been chewing on your cabin or something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You also have to take that into account, I guess.
Oh, for sure. And there was, so for me, part of it too was with the gun, with Django running around, always getting into things. He got sprayed twice with a skunk last year, and that's pretty harmless. The smell, it is what it is. But a friend of mine, they have the litter mate to Django, and she got tangled up with a porcupine, and just wanting to avoid that in the future. And some dog owners I know just shoot porcupines and leave them.
Just to shoot them. Yeah.
Just to shoot them. So they're not, you know. I shot this one, knew I was going to eat it, and the hide is drying right now, so I can use it for deterrent training this year. So in the future we can have that.
Then the dogs can learn from that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, but there's that mindset of like there's the idea of like all animals, loving all animals, but then realizing like no, or respecting all animals, but specific animals are doing what they're doing, and where does that fit into like social acceptance, like in your grain bin, or when a possum digs underneath my parents' shed and it's just shitting and eating everything,
or killing your chickens or something like
killing the chickens.
And I think a little dose of, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but that can go too far as well.
Yep.
You know, where all of a sudden everybody wants, you know, now that it's into wolves, everybody will kill every wolf. You know, well that's not what I'm saying. You know? I'm saying like specific instances. You just need to realize that is one instance of one porcupine out of a general populace of porcupines. Yep. That's got to go because he's chewing on my cabin. Yeah. And if I don't get rid of this porcupine, I'm going to lose my cabin, type of thing. Or that's kind of what it is.
Definitely.
So I'm not saying kill every porcupine.
No, neither am I.
And then
I just took a video of the other one.
Eat it when you shoot it.
Yeah.
If you can.
Right.
And like I said, I already had a whole bunch of porcupine this week.
So you're gonna pass. You're gonna share it with others. And if you're curious how to cook one, hit me up. I got some recipes. Yeah. Going back to so we kind of touched on that idea about hunting wildlife. Going back to the food thing, for you, when did that become a pretty important part of it? And then how does that fit into fishing? Because I'm always curious about like subsistence fishing, sport fishing. Sport fishing, is that like what you call it?
I don't even know. Yeah, I mean, it's oddly species dependent, which is I don't know if that's a cultural thing now that has just happened, and you know, like no, up here hardly anybody keeps bass anymore. Yeah, you go down south and it's a fairly common thing, but like that was kind of the first thing to be thrown into this whole catch and release mantra, which is fantastic, you know. Muskies fall in that category. Like I've never kept the muskie, not for any other reason than I have no idea why. I just haven't. That's not in my thing. I think walleyes are going that way right now. It doesn't. In 10 years, I think you're going to see a lot more people looking at walleyes as those sport fishing trophy fish rather than as food fish. Yeah. Just because it's getting hard, it's getting harder and harder and harder and harder. So,
what are what are your thoughts on, like, well, let's maybe double back to explain catch and release fishing for people listening, because they might not be. So what are some reasons why it's good from like a population standpoint or species dependent, like you said?
So it's good because you're not killing the fish. That's the main idea behind it. It can get to a point though where now we have too many of these fish, which we've kind of run into a little bit on the river as far as stocking purposes go. I mean, those apex predators top of the food chain, you can't have a ton of them. You got to have. There's always going to be fewer of those is the idea, and if you get lopsided on that, then you can run into issues. But catch and release is exactly what it is. You're just going out there trying to catch a large one, generally speaking, the biggest you can get of its species, and then take a picture of it and let it go, so it can reproduce, and somebody else can catch that same fish. Yeah, you're keeping those genes in the system. That fish is going to reproduce, get those genes that made it get that big, pass those on, and hopefully enhance the fishery is the idea. Whereas if you're keeping fish, then out of the gene pool. Yeah. So
for yourself, I asked that because people, especially in Point, I mean, you and I were kind of touching on this before the podcast. It's a smaller community. It's very outdoor oriented. There's a lot of people that love the outdoor spaces, but maybe don't fish, hunt, trap, do those things. So when they're looking at those things, they're confused. They have opinions, biases, like we all do. Yeah. And for fishing, the one I hear a lot about from people is, well, I don't understand sport fishing. I don't understand the catch and release. So I kind of hope that what you're talking about kind of helps some of those people.
I mean, honestly, it's what it gets down to for me is, it's almost like hunting is tricking the fish. Yeah. I mean, yep. Making it bite when it doesn't really want to, tricking the fish. Yep. But then you don't have to kill it. Yeah. You can let it go. I mean, you trick a deer, the party's over on that one. Yeah. But a walleye, I can trick that walleye you try to. Some days you can. Muskies, you go weeks without catching one sometimes.
Or when the switch went from
mid 80s,
okay.
Yeah, so I mean, they were still clubbing just about everything in the mid 80s. Yeah, they were still shooting muskies in the early 70s. Early 70s, you'd get a muskie and the guide had a 22 pistol, and they shoot at the side of the boat because they didn't want it.
And then just throw it back in the water.
No, they would keep it. Then. Okay, but it was considered too dangerous to bring aboard without subduing it ahead of time.
Wow. Yeah. So, because your comment about hunting. Like a catch and release hunting, I'm actually wondering if that will start happening with hunting, where people go out
taking pictures and
they do everything like you and I would do for tree stand hunting, but it's pictures when you throw a Nerf dart at you're tag.
I don't know, because that stuff's delicious though, right? That's the problem. Yeah, and
I love freshwater fish though.
I do too. But I don't know, as the more that I do this, I would rather have one 28-inch northern pike and clean that and eat it than 25 bluegills. Yeah. Or than 3 walleyes. I've found a way to clean. There's lots of YouTube videos teach you how to clean. They're way better. It's the best eating fish on the planet, and nobody eats them. Yeah. Because they have bones and they're too hard to clean or whatever. Yeah. And that's not even remotely close to the case. So.
No, Northern is amazing.
It's the best.
Yeah. Pickled.
And then I don't feel guilty about, some of these fish, and Jake can speak to this coming up here, but some of these fish, I mean, growing up, I caught limits of crappies. Yeah. Right? You catch a crappie out of the Stevens Point flowage, you get 12, 15, 13 to 15-inch crappies. Yep. A 12-inch crappie on the Stevens Point flowage is 16 years old on average.
That's crazy.
That's insane. Mm-hmm. It takes 16 years to bring that fish back. Yeah. That's a long time. Yeah. So I just don't do that as much anymore.
I like it.
Yeah. And if I do, I try not to keep fish for the freezer. Mm-hmm. I try to catch them and then eat them.
Eat them right away.
Don't get me wrong. I have fish in my freezer. Yeah. But they taste so much better fresh if they've never been frozen. It's a way better way of eating it that falls in the food end of things. So
definitely.
Yeah.
For you talked about the kind of like the clubbing of fish or the shooting of fish because they're too dangerous to bring aboard. Have you ever? Something I've been thinking about more and more lately is like the line we draw. And I think you mentioned the line as well, but animals we eat, animals we catch for sport, animals that people like. When I like to freak people out, eating raccoon and porcupine.
Yep.
Because they historically they're a common thing humans would have eaten in North America.
Yeah.
But then there's also the line we draw too with, you kill a fish or you catch a fish and you kill it to eat it. There's not a different name for it. You kill a cow, it's beef.
Sure.
Kill a pig, it's pork.
Yeah, fish is fish, I guess.
Fish is fish. Grouse is grouse. There's this line we've drawn. A deer, venison. And then there's like the apex predators we talked about. If you were to kill and eat a wolf, it's still a wolf. It's wolf meat.
Yeah.
Right. Coyote meat. Have you ever thought about? Have you ever given that line any thought?
You would think that they would have a name for.
Yeah.
Especially like bluegills.
Yep.
I don't know, but maybe that's so specific already that you're just eating bluegills or haddock, or you just name the fish.
Yeah.
Instead of calling it fish.
Yeah. Because I find it super fascinating that at some point through language, we wanted to be very specific on certain species of animals.
So you can feel better about it.
Yeah. If you can, is it from people wanting to remove themselves from the process so you can feel better about it?
You don't have to think about the eyes then.
Yeah. Or was it an acknowledgement of us killing another soul, or however you want to look at it from that? So I'm just like curious or fascinated about how people look at it.
It's very interesting. Yeah. I just look at it as Friday. I mean, it's Friday Night Fish, right?
Dude, yeah. No, I'm sure
it's
most
the fish tacos lately.
Yeah,
that's where it's at.
Yeah,
it's walleye and pike tacos.
Those walleye you get. Oh, that was so good.
Yeah.
But every year, I'm like, I'm gonna fish more. It's a longer season. You can do it like damn near year round.
Yeah.
And especially out where I live, like I'm pretty sure I could do, if I actually learned how to do it properly.
Yeah, you catch a ton of fish.
But I just don't.
But you're gonna run into time. Well, early AF though. I mean, you're up there after it at 4 a.m. But you're gonna run into, as your life gets busier, things are gonna funnel down, and you're not gonna have as much. All of a sudden, you'll be like, I don't know I don't have time. Why can't I do that now?
We had that conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, for me, I love the idea of it, and every year I'm just like, more hunting.
Yeah.
Or I go ice fishing, and I'm like, I love the idea of ice fishing, and then the whole time I'm looking at the shoreline, I'm like, put a trap there,
put a trap there.
Could go run through those brush, put up some rabbits.
See,
I'm gonna let.
But you're good at trapping, like that's what
Yeah.
So go with this year as well.
Yep.
It's kind of hard to feed yourself off a grouse every 2 days when you can just shoot a deer.
You just shoot a deer. That was. This past hunting season, like out every day with the dog, right? Duck hunting, birds. Yeah. I'm a terrible wing shot. I didn't grow up shooting shotguns. It was rifles.
Yeah.
And they do not
act the same.
Do not act the same. So by the end of the season, I was getting better and more consistent. But like peak waterfowl upland season, just a train wreck. And I got home after. I was still having fun though. I was having a great time. Yeah. And I got home.
Fun doesn't feed you though.
Yeah. I got home one day, and Marissa was like, "Should probably go deer hunting." And I'm like, "Why would I do that?" She's like, "Well, how much venison do we still have in the freezer?" I'm like, "Oh yeah,
very good.
Shit." So I went out, got a deer.
Yeah.
And then went right back.
That's not always that easy though.
No,
So that's the thing.
And so. I had just had Peggy Farrell on the podcast. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she runs Becoming an Outdoors Woman through the university. And there's like she reminded me of these six stages of hunters we acknowledged the fact that it was primarily white guys created by white guys for 6 stages of hunting. But right away I looked at it, I was like, shit, you're right. So it's shooter stage, so it's like first thing that comes out, pow. Limiting out stage, where the only thing that matters is numbers.
Yep.
Trophy stage, the method stage, like how can I make this more challenging, and then the sportsman stage, which I laugh at because I just don't think of hunting as a sport, but like where you're you're more concerned with like the philosophy behind everything is this last stage, or giving back. They talk about, but for me, when I got into archery, like deer hunting again in college, like rifle hunted a lot growing up. My dad got hurt, so I never got into archery, and then years later getting into archery, like these things like was like cookie cutter for what I went through.
And I would say that it is, but I also think that it's specific to each.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
So like if you started fishing later on, like you're gonna go through those same stages.
Yep.
If you started bow hunting later, you're gonna go through those same stages. If you started trapping, you'd be like, the same stages. I would think. I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah, and it's so funny because it's, especially now, it's so media driven, right?
Yeah.
The idea of trophy pictures, grip and grins, hunting shows, like this is all they talk about. And then like I look at it now and I'm like, damn it, why did I fall for that silly shit? Did you fall for it, or does it just happen, you know? Yeah, good point.
I don't know.
Good point.
Because I didn't watch a ton of hunting shows growing up. Like, that just didn't exist, really. Like, it was just out there. But you go through those same things, whether you're, you know, I can remember growing up on the river, and that's, like, I came back with a limit of 16-year-old crappies today, you know? Like that's, I could have less of that, though.
Yeah.
You know, limits.
I like it. Yeah, so going back to the deer hunting thing, so like a few years ago, or 2 years ago even, like put a ton of pressure on myself, like bow hunting, the big public land, like go way the hell back type shit. And I still enjoy that, but just putting a ton of pressure on myself, and had a fairly successful year. But like this year, I deer hunted because I enjoy, I set it up so the mornings were duck hunting, upland hunting, and then the evenings were in a tree stand somewhere. And it was just like meditative, watching the sunset, watching the deer. It got to the point where I was like, okay, yeah, first deer that walks by today, we're going to send an arrow at. But it became so much more about what I enjoyed about it, just thinking about how like lucky I am, how grateful I am for the whole process. And then I wasn't putting all this like performance pressure on myself.
I think I flip-flop back and forth between that about every 2 or 3 years.
Definitely.
I'll have a year where I'll be like, yeah, like this year, you know, I'm just gonna wait it out a little bit, see what it's like. Yep. And then I won't get a deer. You know, I'll hunt like 9 days, and then all of a sudden it's like 9th inning. You're like, why did you make those terrible decisions in your life? And then it'll be the next year, and I'll be like, man, first day, like I'm not even gonna question it.
Yep,
it's happening, the first one.
Yeah,
and then you don't see a deer for a little bit, you know, or something weird like that happens, you know. I mean, it always works out if you put your time in, generally speaking, but time is a hard thing to come by.
You got kids and a business.
Yeah,
but yeah, this year had I not shot that 6-pointer, I don't know why I said 6-pointer. It doesn't matter, the buck or whatever. But had I not shot that, I wouldn't have had a deer, because during rifle season, I was like full on Zen Buddha.
Well, that's, you know, you can say 6-pointer. It just identifies the deer that you shot. It's not, I mean, it's okay to say that.
And to go back to that deer, it was one of those ones where I felt great, chip shot with the bow. And then in hindsight, I realized it was at definitely more of an angle than I had originally thought. So the shot was good. The deer was just more angled. So
it's still a killing shot.
Yeah. And appreciate you helping come out.
That was fun. Yeah.
It was, and I always do this. Every year I tell myself, don't even go deer hunting Sunday, because you're going to see one.
It's going to happen, and you got all day.
And then it's going to be, you work Monday. I did it. I shot a deer on a Sunday, and I knew that it was a killing shot, but just to let it rest. So Monday, go to work, just thinking about the deer the entire day.
It's a lot on your brain.
A lot. And then thankfully, so a buddy of mine, he's just getting into hunting, and I wanted him to come on his first blood trail, because he'd never done that before. And it's kind of similar to what you're talking about. Like everyone in his family has like thrown advice at him for hunting, but he has no idea how to piece it all together.
He's got to do it.
And so I brought him out there for the blood trail. Matt thankfully came along with.
I'm going to show you my patented tracking techniques.
Oh my God. So everything that could like get put in front of you as a challenge happened.
That was a tough tracking job.
It snowed that night and that morning. So
just enough.
So it covered would have been a great blood trail otherwise, but
Yep.
fresh snow over it. And then we got to an area where turkeys had come through and
Rustled
everything up. Watching them fly away though in slow motion against the
I couldn't
wind.
believe they were just tucked down in that little hollow down there, and then
Yeah.
they waited, and then it was
The whole rafter came up when we walked by. But at one point, so we give my buddy Josh the lowdown, like, hey, blood trailing, you just follow the blood. You're going to get distracted. You're gonna, like, your mind's going to start playing games on you because blood trailing is so much about just focus. You got to stay focused.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, there'll be times
you don't want to
where-
be jumping ahead.
You don't wanna
You don't want to be jumping ahead.
and there's going to be times where you, but anyway, so Matt and I, Josh, were going over this blood trail, and at one point you get down and you're he's tapping the ground, and I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, and backtrack, this is me thinking like, Matt's just like crazy outdoor
crazy.
Jedi.
Yeah.
And then
Just feeling for the
yeah, I was like, is he tapping to be like a deer? Because it almost sounded like how a deer walks. And then you're like, no, I'm tapping the snow off the leaf. I'm like, oh.
so I can see the blood.
Yeah, so I can see
Out
the
of my
blood.
hands and knees crawling around.
That's fucking pro move. Because meanwhile, I'm like still fixated on the snow. Like, oh my God, we're never going to see the blood with the snow. And you're just like out there like
just work your way through it.
Indiana Jones with a paintbrush.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that. And then, yeah, we get to the area with the turkeys. So then we're like, all right, Josh, we're breaking rule number 1. We got to leave. We got to.
Well, there's no way around that.
We got to fan out and re-find it. And then we follow that forever. It goes across the creek.
The creek was the stumper, man.
Yeah.
For me.
Went along the creek.
It went down the creek then.
Yep.
It didn't cross in the easiest spot.
No.
It went way down the creek. And maybe it was drinking. It was probably drinking.
Yeah. Yep. And then doubled back, came back down the creek, and then at this point, Matt's still dialed in, focused, following the blood trail.
You're gone.
I was gone. Mentally, I checked out. I was like, worst case scenario in my mind, like, never gonna find the deer. I've got to go to work in an hour and a half. Like, so I'm wandering off, and at one point, Josh's like, "Is this
what you told me not to
this
do?"
what you told me not to do?" And I'm just
Totally
like,
called you out on it. It was awesome.
and then found the deer.
Yeah, then there was. But you were in the right. Like you had,
I was in the
spidey sense, and there's where it was.
I was
You were within 30, 40 yards of it.
Yeah, I'd given up on the blood trail mentally. I'd quit and bitched out. But yeah, the other part of me was like, well, where the hell would this thing tuck down into? And we
That blowdown.
And then you were like, I smelled that deer.
I did smell that deer.
Yeah.
I 100% smelled that deer. It sounds.
It's just something I don't think. I know it does. Well, it doesn't get. It's so hard to tell that story or talk about it or show that in any of the media platforms.
That's nothing that you would ever see in a show,
Mm-hmm.
And you watch these shows now, and these guys are they're taking horrible shots. Why did you do that? And then they're all high-fiving after it. And I'm like, you're never gonna get that deer. You just shot it in the butt with an arrow. You're never gonna get that deer.
It's gone. It's gone.
You just ruined it.
Oh man, talk about hunting forever.
Yeah.
I laughed at your hill deer story. We're gonna double back to that. Take my dad rifle hunting. Shoots a deer. So I shoot a buck. He's going to the truck to get the tow strap because I forgot it in my pack.
Classic.
8 cars roll up to this public land spot. These guys all get out. Most of them are wearing just like regular shoes. They're going to go do a drive in this area, right off the trail, right off where the parking lot is. So my dad tucks back. He's like, I don't want to fucking walk through that. They go through. They kick a deer up to my dad. He shoots it. For some reason, he's like, oh, I gotta hide this from them. He's
fair enough.
Paranoid old guy.
Yeah.
He drags it down this steep ass hill. And then I get over there. I'm like, did you shoot? He's like, yeah. I'm like, where'd all those guys go? He's like, they did a drive. They left. I mooched the deer off. I'm like, oh, awesome. You're over. He was like, I was over here. I'm like, yeah, okay. Where is it?
I took it way down.
Yeah. He's like, I dragged it way the hell down there. I'm like,
covered up with leaves like a mountain lion.
I'm just like, what the fuck? And then he's like, you gonna gut it for me? Like, no, because I have to drag it up this freaking hill for you. I'm not gutting it out for you too. So where I'm getting at is the fitness side of outdoor recreation. And where I want to go with that is
how unfit I am.
Well, I mean, you said it here. I wasn't going to bring that up.
Yeah,
No, I was
dear
more talking about the Lazarski special. Don't ever ask Matt. No, or maybe ask Matt.
Yeah, it's a good workout.
Like, hey, where's a good place? Lady's never gone canoeing before. Gives me a spot.
To be fair, it is a fine lake for canoeing.
It is a great lake for canoeing. We roll in. I'm just also an idiot for planning. So I've got a cooler full of beers. And later on, Matt's like, they make a flask. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Fits in a canoe better.
So full cooler, 2 dogs. Partner has never gone canoeing before. We go out there, out on the lake, having a great time. Take a little picnic break, get back in the lake. The wind kicks up, 20+ mile per hour winds. Canoe's rocking all over. We start spinning. Just like, hey, what's going on back there? She's no longer paddling.
Yeah.
So we were able to communicate like a good couple.
Were you? Oh, no.
You need to paddle.
There was probably a lot.
We are going to fucking go.
We will die out here. Yeah.
I say that for a fact, not thinking anything.
Not thinking it, yeah.
We make it to shore. We get out. They're on a tree. We remember our 3 brothers died back in the 70s on this lake. It's like, holy shit. It was real. We looked it up. It's a real thing.
So we drove by there on Saturday, right?
Okay.
Or Sunday. Me and Jake did, because Jake knows the story.
Yeah.
And we're driving on the highway, and Jake's got his phone out. He's looking at his phone. He's like, "What's this?" He's like, "Oh, is that the lake?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's the lake." He goes, and I'm like, "Here's where he had to pull out." And he goes, "He walked all the way over to here. They need to walk all the way back around." I was like, "Yep." And then functional fitness.
We had to drive all the way back, and then I went through had a straight beeline through. Thank God that highway is there.
Yeah.
But portage of the canoe through the woods. That was just
That's
great
goofy talk.
Luckily, I had the beers though. I stopped for a break.
See, that'd have been a 2-tripper for me then. What I'd have just put left the wife and the dogs on the one end, canoed the stuff across.
Yeah.
Just made a couple trips back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't know which would have been worse.
Yeah. It was still windy.
Yeah.
I don't.
You weren't hacking it in the wind.
This is just going back. So this goes back to my land comfort. I think with the hunting and the trapping thing, where I was like, I'm just gonna.
See, and that's why I'm I'm more comfortable in the boat. Like I would be absolutely fine in the boat.
So let's dive. You brought up the subject about personal fitness level. Where does fitness or activity level play into your enjoyment of the outdoor space, and then also as a parent, what does that look like?
As a parent, that's my workout. Honestly, it's just constant running, chasing. That's all. Both Jen and I. Every night we go to bed, we're just beat. And I'm sure that's like that for a lot of parents.
Yeah.
So, as far as hunting goes, it's just always that realization of how out of shape you really are, especially or making decisions on where you decide to pull the trigger on a deer. Like you have to make sure that. I mean, should probably just be in better shape. It's probably going to suck either way, even if you're in good shape or not in good shape.
Yep.
But you're going to shoot something 5-6 miles back. It better be pretty awesome.
Or small enough.
Or small enough, just throw it on your back and carry it out of there. One of the two. There's both ways of going with that.
That's what Peggy was talking about yesterday on the podcast. She's like, I'm just going to come out and say, I'm going to be honest, I like shooting fawns.
They're light, they're easy, they taste delicious. Yeah.
So, for yourself, growing up, let's go back to young Matt Lazarski.
Yeah.
Sports, activities.
Yeah, I was honestly really played soccer. I was really in pretty good shape until, 20 or so.
Until you opened up a liquor store?
Yeah. Well, that was years after that, but yeah. Well, soccer was a lot. It was a lot of just conditioning, a lot of running, a lot of running.
Yeah.
So doesn't really help you with hauling deer out of the woods, but
no, it's a solid base.
Now it's a lot of lifting. I mean, my daughter weighs 45 pounds. My son weighs 45 pounds, and it's 90 pounds. That's multiple times every day.
That'll get it in.
Yeah.
Some curls, some squats, some deadlifts.
Oh, dear goodness.
Plus, there's the bottle stop workouts. You should just.
I need to keep my phone on me one day just to see the number of steps. Nervous about.
Or give yourself the Lazarski special like you did me. You should do that workout.
I've done those workouts. I've done plenty of dumb things like that.
So let's.
It's called older and wiser.
Yeah, right.
So
You get smart, like the flask
the
thing.
flask
You're like, why
thing.
the hell would you bring a full
Why
cooler?
would you bring a full cooler of beer? That doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, it makes sense, but
It does, right?
Yeah.
Going back to so now we've touched on parenthood, the outdoor space, small business owner.
Yeah.
When did you realize in your life you wanted to take that step, or was it like?
I've always kind of been that way. I get, have that mentality, I guess, I guess I look at it as being prepared, I guess,
Okay.
I want to be able to support myself
Yeah.
without relying on.
Because you don't have the traditional 9 to 5 gig.
No. It's not 9 to 5. No.
It's 5 to 9 or 4 to 10.
I don't know what it is.
Whatever you want to
It's
think.
all over, something, I'm emailing at 11 o'clock at night or, it's not like I'm working. I'm
Yeah.
not digging a ditch.
Yeah.
But it's stuff that's got to be done. I got to, you do it when you can, and that's just how it goes. So you're on your phone a lot because that's just how it is nowadays. You do most of that stuff on your phone. It looks kind of terrible, like you're being antisocial or whatever, but that's just how it is. So I don't know, but really it was when I opened up this store, that was kind of the breaking point where I'd worked a few other jobs and I enjoyed them and did this and did that, and I'd always kind of been in I delivered beer for years, and then I bartended, so I kind of been in this industry, had a lot of contacts in it already, and it kind of just fell in my lap. There were one guy in town in particular that said, you should really probably, this would be a good gig for you. It would be perfect for you, and it's not. You should do it. So a little finagling with Jen, we had some long talks, and it's not something you want to tell your wife you're opening a liquor store up, But yeah, I don't know, it's worked out okay. So
yeah, and you've done the incredible where you've linked that the career skills you've forged over the years with your passion.
I don't know. It's incredible. Yeah, it is. It's pretty.
I with what I do for a living, and I love what I do for a living. Not a business owner though. Well, other than this shit,
you got a lot of stuff going on.
I just see people every day where it's a huge disconnect. They do their job because it gives them money or allows them to do these other things, but they don't enjoy the job. It creates a stress for all of us. Yeah,
stress for everybody.
And then here you are, business owner, doing this non-traditional thing to begin with, but now you've also coupled it with Taps and Tackle, where I walk in and it's this melting pot community place.
It's a different type of vibe. But it's a good thing.
It is super good vibe.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what Create has done is it's combined all of these locations, all of these little niche communities, and it's just people doing what we've always done, but I think it's become more difficult in today's world, like you talked about with the phones and busy.
I think if it was like a traditional bar setting, I don't think you'd have that same vibe.
Agreed.
You can come in there on a Friday and there'll be, people from the financial industry, people from the wherever, everybody's just talking about whatever.
Yeah.
And that's literally, I hate to use that cliche of whatever, but literally we're talking about whatever.
Yeah, it'll be like super deep stuff. It'll be family, business, community, politics, religion. It'll be like silly stuff.
Yeah.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
Because I'm one of those like.
Well, there's a lot to talk. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
You can't just keep sheltering it and hide. You can't stick your head in the sand.
Yeah. And so have you put any? Was there any thought into that community aspect of what it is you were doing there?
I don't know that when I was doing it, I was thinking about it in that aspect. That's just who I am, though. I like getting all those people together.
Yeah.
That would happen regardless, I think. I use that word for dookie. So it would. whether we had the bar there or not, it would just happen at the front counter.
Yeah.
I mean, it was still kind of happening. You know, there's always people standing around talking about.
Yeah.
You know.
Good point.
So this just allows more of us to do it. So.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it, man. What are you most surprised about from this new thing, this new part of it?
Well, I'm honestly surprised at how many people are actually just showing up. I didn't expect there to be. I mean, Fridays is really pretty busy in there, you know. And I wasn't expecting that. I'm thinking, you know, maybe we'll have a couple people stop in after work or something like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, no, I don't know what all you people are coming in at 2 in the afternoon on Fridays, you know. But it's packed from 11 in the morning.
I was gonna say I'm there. It's usually I'm gonna have to figure out when I'm gonna get there today because we got a lot going on. But yeah, like I've done the bottle stop. The bottle stop where I'm there, you know, nooner-ish. It's a soft noon,
which is fine.
And I've been there all the way to like 4 or 5 on days where I've got free, and I enjoy it. It's therapeutic.
There's a lot of things you can learn from there's a lot of interesting people in there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, just so like you said, I'll learn the financial part of it. I'll talk to who our investor is for work, and then there'll be someone from like counseling or local food. Talk to them for a while. A farmer will stop in.
Yeah.
I'll
take care of my lime tree.
Yeah, that was like the most random. And you meet really cool new people, or it's like the watering hole of the community without the. I don't know, like you said,
is it like a bar stigma? You know, like you couldn't go to a bar and do that. I feel. Yeah. Because it's like, I don't know, there's like music playing and like.
Yeah, super loud music, or it's just
it's just not as comforting.
Yeah. I don't know.
And I didn't set up to, like, that wasn't like, it just happened to be that. That's how it worked out.
Yeah. It's just your energy that you put into it. I like it. So what's the, we'll dive, so that's the taps part of it, the community watering hole. The tackle part of things. Let's touch on that. Let's touch on your Zen trip, your weekend fishing trip.
This last weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, as far as like tackle in the shop, I don't know. That was just stuff that we.
Was it a part of the market you weren't seeing?
100%.
Okay.
100%. There's, I don't even know how to say this, but I mean, like.
Well, yeah, it's secrets. You don't have to.
Not trade secrets, but like, Fleet Farm was out of treble hooks for 2 months.
Jesus.
Treble hooks. This isn't where we should be in our lives. You know?
This is 2020.
This is 2020, and it's Fleet Farm. You should have some treble hooks.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm. Not that I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Fleet Farm, but like, it's just a niche thing.
Yep.
Where you know you can get the stuff you need, and it's always going to be there. And if you can't get it, I'll get it for you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So, but the trip this last weekend was I took my son up north and we went ice fishing for the first he's been ice fishing before, not as like probably hardcore as this. Not that it was really hardcore, but for a 4-year-old it was pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
We stayed overnight and did the whole
first overnighter.
Well, first father-son overnight thing, yeah. So it was me, and then another dad and his son.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. They had a good time. It was one of those rare occasions where it was almost 50 degrees while you're ice fishing. So that just doesn't happen that often. And it was sunny, and it was absolutely fantastic.
I love it.
And we caught fish.
My first. I could like ice fishing with my dad back in the day was like some of the best memories. He didn't always make it fun. My dad had a real knack for making anything into like a death hike.
Sure.
Be it rabbit hunting, deer hunting, ice fishing. I was strapped to the sled with the wood stove in it for the ice shack.
It's fantastic.
Cast iron
wood stove.
My dad didn't mess around with ice fishing.
Apparently not.
He had it was plywood built shack that he would pull out on the ice in an otter sled if the ice wasn't ready for like a truck to drive on it.
Yeah.
Or he had a van, like huge old awesome. Chevy van. He would pull that out because all of his brothers were just like your stereotypical redneck beer drinking northern Wisconsinites. And then as a child, my earliest memories are of dragging
on the wood
stupid
stove
sled But my first overnight ice fit, I had to have been 4 or 5. I was in like these like super old school bibs that I had never worn before, and I've got the mittens.
So to be fair, though, we didn't stay on the ice overnight.
Oh,
I should have clarified that.
Yeah.
That's a northern Wisconsin thing. This is like city folk overnight sleep.
Gotcha.
Where we go up and we stay at a seedy resort.
Yeah, we never stayed at a city resort.
Yeah.
If we stayed in, it was in the van, and I slept where the Beagles went.
That sounds. See, that's what I want to aspire to.
Yeah, well, you can build
See, this
that.
is the part of where we never had that. That's like I want to do that. I want to sleep on the ice overnight.
So, do you now sleep on the ice?
I haven't ever. No.
What?
No. It's on my list of things to do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've
Isn't that funny that I've never done that?
That blows my. So when you said overnight, I was my first overnight on the ice, sleeping in bunk beds and cots in the shack. I pissed my bibs.
Oh, no.
So my dad leaves, goes back to the truck to get stuff. I'm there, like, just farting around. But I would have slowed him down. 4 or 5.
Oh yeah. You're just staying here. I'm gonna go get it. We'll be back.
And I'm like, I have to take a pee really bad. I can remember it, and I'm just like.
Couldn't get them off.
Can't get the bits off. Oh, no. And I was little. I couldn't. I was like, take the mittens off. Nope, didn't think about it.
No.
Just ended up panicking there until I ended up peeing myself. And so that I always remember that because he also still gives me shit about it all the time. And I'm like, it's your fault. You were the adult. You can't blame me for this. But I always think about and then I just.
It's gotta be a terrible feeling though too, not getting it. Not being able to get everything unbuttoned and just losing it, just sweating.
Yeah,
when it's coming.
That's probably why I don't. That's probably why I don't. That moment is why I don't fish. Like,
very well might be.
But no. And then the rest of the day, I sat in his extra wool pants and like his big ass jacket,
swimming in them.
Just swimming, couldn't move.
Yeah.
I slayed perch.
Best day ever.
Best day ever. So it was like I had the. In my family, it's always been like you got to suffer a little. Like my dad's weird.
It all evens out.
Yeah, and it's
the highs and the lows.
Overnight, man. Then we would cook venison steaks on that wood fire stove. So when I got older, it was worth it.
These are the traditional northern Wisconsin things. Deer camp, and then it's overnight in the shack and all that stuff. See, I've never wanted to do a permanent shack because I've just seen too many horror stories with dudes getting those off at the end of the year, and I want zero part of that.
It would be terrible. We'd go out there, and it's like knee-deep slush.
Oh, my God. It gives me the willies just thinking about that.
Terrible. Yeah, now he does, he's got like the whole clam set up, and he just put it up that day.
See, I think I would go to like a boat launch and then sleep in the trailer at the boat launch, then take the machines out from there. But it's a little, 4 years old. I got a few years to go before we're doing that. So.
Yeah, it's smart of you.
Maybe
my dad just threw me in the fire.
I know. It was different. That's how it was, though. Which is fine.
Feelings. Oh, you're crying? Suck it up. There was salmon fishing trip. He sends me over. Well, he sent me this one spot, and I kept wanting to go over here. And he's like, "Don't go over there. Don't go over there." And eventually, he just let me go over there.
Yep, you'll figure it out.
Yep. And I sank. First it was my knees, then it was my hips, and then I realized I was stuck. And I'm screaming, yelling. I'm 8.
I told you to not.
7.
Go over there.
He's like, I told you not to go over there, and he finished catching the salmon he out on the line before it came out.
100%.
And by that point, chest deep. It's like filling my waders with mud.
I told you.
A lot of good moments.
There's something to be said for that, though, too.
For sure. So I wanted to.
You're gonna learn to listen then.
We're at an hour, so I want to end with. Do you have any, like you were talking about these moments with your kids in the outdoors? What is the evolving plan look like for sharing your love of the outdoors as your kids get older?
My biggest fear is pushing it on them too much. I don't want it to become a burden for them. I want them to find out whether or not they enjoy it. That's the main thing. So, we can go do things, and we can go fishing, and we can go hunting, and we can shoot guns, and we can do all that stuff, but I'm also not going to push it too hard. Because I'm the kind of guy, if I get pushed too hard, that I don't like doing it, then I push back. So and I have a feeling that's how my kids are too. So, but yeah, I want them. I want them to have that basic set of skills. I want them to know how to track a deer and know how to catch a fish if they gotta, all that stuff.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Are you got any big fishing shows or trips planned this year? You getting showcased anywhere?
I don't think no.
It's too early for that.
Too early for that.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't really have anything planned. We got a weekend trip in May with the family.
Okay.
So that'll be fun. That'll be like the first camping trip for the year, I think. And then that's about it. There may be something pretty fun coming up at the end of May.
Okay.
I gotta figure that out yet, but
Gotcha.
that's TBD.
I like it. Dude, you're a badass. You're one of my
This has been fun.
family outdoor mentors, and I can always trust you to take care of my taste buds when I come into the bottle shop, which is important. I just like kind of like people come to the gym and they're like, Bill, I want a great workout. I want to feel good. I want to be safe.
Yep.
I go to the bottle shop for that.
Calories.
Yeah. I'm like, I want a good beer. I want to have fun. I want to know that you're going to take care of me.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Coaches need coaches.
Everybody needs everybody.
Exactly. So where can people find you, reach you? What are the bottle stop hours?
Bottle stop hours are open 10 to 9. Both sides are open 10 to 9. So you can come in and get a beer whenever you want and shop around or hang out and talk and do whatever. But yeah, 10 to 9 every single day. So
look at that. It's 9:46. Weird. Just enough time to get over.
Is it really 9:46?
Pre-workout in. I can't wait.
Yeah. No, this has been super fun. So
all right, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.